Athens residents react to their city council's decision to support Governor DeWine's gas tax increase. Robert Mueller submits his report to the Department of Justice. And in sports, a number of Bobcat wrestlers are in Pittsburgh to compete for the national title. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Hernandez, thanks for joining us. Athens City Council supports Mike DeWine's proposal of an 18-cent increase to the state's gas tax. I spoke to the council and Athens drivers to find out how the city feels about a bigger price tag on gas.
18 cents. That's how much Ohio Governor Mike DeWine wants to raise the state's gas tax. Athens Mayor Steve Patterson says those cents can add up to big bucks for the city's street repair budget, which is in desperate need for extra funds.
It would certainly enhance what we're able to do with street maintenance, bridge repairs in the city of Athens. So we would be able to get a lot more done if this goes through.
On Monday, Athens City Council passed a resolution to support the tax. But standing in the way of that tax hike is the Ohio state government. The Ohio House reduced that tax to only a 10.7-cent increase, and the Senate slashed it even further to just 6 cents. On Wednesday, Governor DeWine said the House's proposal, quote, doesn't cut it.
But does an 18-cent hike cut it for drivers here in Athens? After all, a majority of people behind the wheel here are Ohio University students, many of whom say they don't have that much money to begin with.
This is the more I have to spend out of my pocket personally, because, I'm down here, I'm working, and I don't have a wealth of money. That's what I'm here to do.
Council members Kent Butler and Pat McGee were also concerned about the 18-cent increase. They said many Athens residents simply don't have the money to pay for gas.
I'm torn because as a Joe Q citizen and philosophically I see the need for this, but the people I represent would probably prefer I vote in opposition.
While the gas tax increase is still up for debate in Athens, the law won't be decided here. Instead, we'll have to wait for a compromise between the Ohio House and Senate in Columbus, which will have to reach Governor DeWine by March 31st. For WOUB, I'm Stephen Hernandez.
City Council also mentioned on Monday that residents should consider alternatives such as carpooling or the city's public bus system if gas prices become too expensive. Yusuf Kaliango, an Ohio University journalism professor facing a lawsuit over sexual assault allegations, is now countersuing the university, claiming the university discriminated against him and conducted a flawed investigation. Kaliango's claims come in the form of a 26-page answer and cross-claim to a lawsuit filed by a former student and employee of his. The cross-claim targets Ohio University for, quote, basic negligence, as well as violating his 14th Amendment rights. A judge is temporarily blocking part of a new Ohio law that would ban the abortion method of dilation and evacuation in most cases. The ban was signed last year by former Governor John Kasich and was set to go into effect today. Cincinnati's senior U.S. District Judge Michael Barrett says he wants to hear more from both sides of the lawsuit against the ban filed by Planned Parenthood before making a final decision about the ban's constitutionality. An Ohio man is in police custody after being arrested earlier this week in Florida with an underage girl. Police say he engaged in sex acts with her. 31-year-old Raymond Curtis was caught with a 15-year-old girl, also from Ohio, at a motel in Florida. According to Ohio's Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, the girl ran away from home before being taken to Florida by Curtis. The unnamed teen is reportedly doing okay and is back home in Ohio with her family. Curtis will be extradited to Ohio to face charges.
Hi everybody, I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. Well, it was a warmer day this morning before a cold front that brought in a couple of showers as well, kind of cooled us down later on today, and we're seeing those much cooler temperatures all across the area. Look at these temperatures. These are not correct. 29 in Columbus is not the temperature. We are in the lower and middle 40s. We should be 45 here in Athens, all under mainly cloudy skies basically all across the area. Now, as we take a look at the highlights for the next couple of days, we're going to see a much cooler start to the weekend, but the sunshine will be out as a result of a high pressure, and it's just going to be a beautiful day on Saturday and Sunday before a big warm-up is in store. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast in the next couple of minutes. Stephen, are you ready for just a beautiful spring-like weekend ahead?
I'll be really looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, Nicholas. Coming up, Robert Mueller submits his report to the Department of State. And farmers in the Midwest react to intense flooding. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
Welcome in, Hardwood fans. Now, as you know, we've already aired our season finale where you see all these great people behind me who made our all-hero and all-future teams. But that doesn't mean our coverage stops. There are still a lot of teams in the playoffs and games left to be played. So if you want to stay up to date with all that and all the other TVC action, then go follow our social media. Like us on Facebook, add us on Snapchat, and follow us on Twitter. And always remember to be heroic.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
Robert Mueller's Russia probe is now in the hands of Attorney General William Barr. The special counsel submitted the report today. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says, quote, "We look forward to the process taking its course." She says the White House has not received or been briefed on the special counsel's report yet. Nebraska and Iowa are facing billions of dollars in losses from the recent devastating flooding. And despite a major disaster declaration for Nebraska by President Trump on Thursday, some farmers and ranchers are still not sure how they will recover. Kelly Smoot has the report.
These are the people out here that feed America, and without these people, America's going to suffer.
Water still covers much of the land where the farmers and ranchers of Iowa and Nebraska usually make a living.
I need to be able to farm this ground. I need to be able to do my job.
A bomb cyclone slammed into the nation's midsection, bringing hurricane-force winds, heavy rain, and snow. Once the storm was over, farmers and ranchers had very little time to react.
Within 30 minutes, we had over 2 foot of water come through the front barn.
In the rush to get ahead of the water, Eric Alberts said he could not save his animals.
We lost roughly 700 head of hogs. It's been a little devastating, but the worst is yet to come. We got to clean it up.
Nebraska officials say preliminary losses for infrastructure, livestock, and crops will likely exceed $1.3 billion.
This is the most widespread damage we've ever experienced in our state and our state's history. It is truly an epic disaster.
Iowa officials are also forecasting losses over $1 billion. On Thursday, President Trump declared a major disaster for Nebraska. But farmers say the damage is catastrophic. And even with federal aid, survival will be tough.
Probably 75% of that won't be able to be farmed this year, so we won't have a way to make an income this year.
I'm Kelly Smoot reporting.
Weather-wise, it was cloudy and rainy today, but the weekend is full of beautiful weather. We'll talk all about that coming up in my full forecast, but first, a look at stocks of local interest.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
Welcome in, Hardwood fans. Now, as you know, we've already aired our season finale where you see all these great people behind me who made our all-hero and all-feature teams. But that doesn't mean our coverage stops. There are still a lot of teams in the playoffs and games left to be played. So if you want to stay up to date with all that and all the other TVC action, then go follow our social media. Like us on Facebook, add us on Snapchat, and follow us on Twitter. And always remember to be heroic.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Hi everybody, I'm forecaster Nicholas Snyder. Well, I apologize again for the second day in a row. We do not have the correct graphics, so I'm going to go off of memory once again. So right now, all across the area, highs today, we're in the lower and middle 40s with rain showers in the morning. Those have since moved out. We had a couple of snow showers up along I-70 and I-77, but again, those have since moved out, and because of the cold front that those rain showers were as a result of, it really cooled down. We were in the upper 50s yesterday, but today we only reached the 40s, and it's only going to get cooler as the night goes on. As we take a look at the current jet stream picture, we predominantly have zonal flow. We had that shortwave trough that brought in the cold front and stirred up those rain showers, but that has since moved off, and it's going to allow a high pressure to come in, but we'll talk about that in a second. Hour by hour tonight, we're going to drop you into the upper 20s and lower 20s as we get closer to midnight. Clouds will clear out as we go throughout the night as an area of high pressure will make its way through, but it's going to be a very chilly night. Make sure you're bundled up if you have any plans. Lows will be in the lower and middle 20s, and all across the area, temperatures again will be in the middle 20s. Here in Athens, we should reach a low of about 25 with mainly clear skies after 10 p.m. Before 10 p.m., those clouds will still be here. Winds will calm down as well as that high pressure makes its way through. Now, hour by hour tomorrow, we are going to be a beautiful day tomorrow. Sunshine galore from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and to 12 p.m. Highs will reach the lower and middle 40s by 12 p.m. and by 4 p.m. when we reach our maximum temperature, we should reach the lower 50s with not a cloud in the sky. Just a gorgeous day tomorrow. If you have any plans, tomorrow is the day to do it. It is just going to be beautiful. Now, as we take a look at the precip map, it is all due to an area of high pressure that's off to our south. It's going to pump warm air up from the south in the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to bring much spring-like weather in before another low pressure makes its way through, and it's going to bring warmer weather, but with it rain. And as we look at the 10-day air masses, we see a big ridge over our area going into Monday, where highs should be in the lower 60s. Another trough will come in for Tuesday before another even bigger ridge comes in on Thursday, which will bring in much warmer temperatures. In the extended forecast, we're seeing highs in the upper 60s and maybe even lower 70s further south going into next week, next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It should just be a gorgeous day as we go throughout those days next week. So next week, highs should start out in the lower 40s before warming you up into those upper 60s and lower 70s going into next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Watch out for some rain likely going into Friday, Stephen, but just a gorgeous next couple of days for the weekend and a gorgeous end to the week next week. Stephen.
Nicholas. Coming up, Newswatch reporter Rachel Cherry is in Pittsburgh for NCAA wrestling. That story and more when Newswatch returns.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
Welcome in, Hardwood fans. Now, as you know, we've already aired our season finale where you see all these great people behind me who made our all-hero and all-future teams. But that doesn't mean our coverage stops. There are still a lot of teams in the playoffs and games left to be played. So if you want to stay up to date with all that and all the other TVC action, then go follow our social media. Like us on Facebook, add us on Snapchat, and follow us on Twitter. And always remember to be heroic.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
Emotional support animals have been showing up more frequently across the country in recent years. Newswatch in-depth reporter Diamond June takes a closer look.
You've seen them trending on social media. Emotional support peacocks, pigs, and kangaroos. There's even an emotional support alligator that visits nursing homes in Florida. Emotional disabilities affect millions of people across Ohio. In fact, 1 in 5 adults suffer some form of emotional distress. This impacts a person's ability to recognize, interpret, control, and express fundamental emotions. Some of these disorders range from depression and anxiety to obsessive-compulsive disorder. Many seek the emotional support provided by an animal companion, like Ohio University student Maisie Fitzmaurice, who has Eva.
Dogs are very calming. They're really good listeners because they can't really talk back, so I think that's nice. Yeah, I think dogs just can read people's emotions really well, so they always know how to help out kind of thing.
Maisie suffers from depression and anxiety. She was diagnosed 5 years ago. She's had Eva for a year. The freshman journalism student opened up about what Eva does to help her.
I've suffered from panic attacks before, so when I do get really anxious, I think she can tell, and she usually comes over and like sits on my lap or something, which is nice.
Pets like Eva have restrictions on where they can go. They are only allowed in dorm rooms, but that's it. No dining halls and no campus buildings. The reason behind the restrictions is the university's past problems with emotional support animals. There's a growing trend for pet owners to attempt to get their pet certified as an emotional support animal so they can skirt the rules of no pets in campus buildings. Assistant Dean for Accessibility, Carrie Bush, believes there's a few ways for Ohio University to reduce this problem.
And then also looking for documentation from the healthcare practitioner to understand how, like what animal in particular is being recommended, how they anticipate that will benefit the student, and that's kind of a different law. That's under the Fair Housing Act. We have to make allowances for those animals to live in the residence halls with students. So we're looking at really what is that condition, what is the ability for the student to benefit from the animal.
Although some students will try to forge documentation, Bush says because of the new regulations, it will be a little bit harder to scam the system.
The challenging part for our office is that we rely on healthcare practitioners who are licensed. So to some extent, our standpoint is if you have earned your license and you're willing to put something on paper and sign your license to it, that we don't generally second guess that. It doesn't mean that there are not instances where we get documentation that seems less well thought out in terms of how the animal is working. But I would say needing some documentation does prevent someone who really has no diagnosis. Most healthcare practitioners are not going to assign a diagnosis and put that in a letter to our office if that's not what's really going on with the student.
While the university has tightened its restrictions, other places may not double check. You can register your dog as a certified emotional support animal online for just $80 through the United States Dog Registry. Registries like this allow any dog owner to have ID card that states their dog are registered support animals, or you can go online and order a vest similar to the one trained service dogs wear. Either allow ESAs access to places where they are not trained to be, and that can potentially lead to harm for real service dogs.
Absolutely. People become very leery when they're like, oh yeah, you can put a vest on anything. You can put a vest on any dog and call it a service dog. I mean, you can order those online. And we have had some of our dogs lashed out, barked at by quote unquote service dogs or quote unquote therapy dogs.
Kelly Cam is Development Director for Four Paws, a national organization that helps socialize puppies to find out if they might be good for service dog training. There's an OU chapter that fosters potential service dogs on campus. Cam says these emotional support animals can be problematic in closed environments, such as a plane.
So when you have an animal that has never been exposed to lots of different people, places, and things, they might get nervous. They might, attack somebody or, their owner or what have you. They might attack a dog if they see a dog. It's just not appropriate for people to be exposing these service dogs that are, at least at Four Paws, they cost us between $40,000 and $60,000. And to have an untrained animal on a plane freaking out and possibly harming a person or one of our dogs it's just detrimental.
Because of all this, organizations such as Ohio University are cracking down and forcing those in need of an emotional support animal to provide more documentation.
Just basically talking about, like, does this dog have aggression issues? Does this dog get sick easily, kind of stuff. Also had to have like an update record of her vaccinations. She had to be licensed. I actually had to get her licensed because I didn't realize that was a thing. So now she's like licensed in Franklin County where like I live at home. So we had to do that. Had to get like a doctor's note, and I had to fill out an application. Kind of just like talking about why I think I should have my dog and why I think I need my dog, kind of thing. And I had to sign like some agreements about like property. Like if she does something to the property, it's like my, it's at my expense, kind of thing. If there's issues, they can like ask me to not have the dog.
Despite all the negative attention and extra work required, having an emotional support animal is life-changing to people with legitimate needs, such as Macy.
Like I have trouble with like some kind of social relationships because I have borderline personality disorder. But like with a dog, like you just kind of get like that unconditional love, and you like don't really argue with the dog and stuff. And so it's like nice to have like a constant kind of companion and like a constant like relationship. And it's just really nice to like come home and like she's like so excited to see me, and it's nice to know you're like needed sometimes. Like obviously I need to take her out, and I need to feed her, and like I know she misses me when we're not together. So it's kind of nice to feel like you have like kind of a purpose. If like everything's going wrong, like you know you at least like have your dog.
Four Ohio University wrestlers are in Pittsburgh with a shot at a national title. Newswatch reporter Rachel Cherry is there with the story.
Ohio Wrestling does not have any more wrestlers competing in the NCAA championships. Despite the lack of wins, head coach Joel Greenlee is proud of his wrestlers' accomplishments. Yesterday, he said Cameron Kelly was wrestling the best he ever had. However, Kelly lost this morning. He faced the 12th seed Tristan Moran from Wisconsin. In 46 seconds, Kelly got caught in a cradle and pinned. It's important to note, Kelly didn't compete the whole season due to injury, so it was a great accomplishment for him to even make the tournament. He finishes his career as a three-time NCAA qualifier. 133-pounder Mario Guillen went 0-2. He lost last night to Cody Russell, and just like Kelly, he got caught in a pin. Both Guillen and 157-pounder Zach Carson are returning next year for Ohio. Carson went 0-2 too, but the heavyweight Zach Parker will be graduating after going 0-2 at 2 NCAA championships. Again, Greenlee was proud of Parker.
You know, he came in with one of the best heavyweights in the country. At the same time, they were both freshmen. This guy was a four-time state champ. He was like 3 or 4-time Fargo All-American, and Zach Parker's work ethic just wore him out. And I'm super proud of what Zach's accomplished here. And unfortunately for him, the last 2 years, he just hasn't been healthy for over half the year.
Looking ahead to next year, the Ohio wrestling team has a lot of promise. In addition to Guillen and Carson, they're also returning 2-time NCAA qualifier Shakur Laney. And Colt Enger, a local wrestler from Nelsonville, he actually got the highest place in the MAC championships for Ohio, second.